السلام عليكم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. In this first episode of Mecca at the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and before going into the details of the holy city's topography and geography in future episodes, we will first briefly detail the masjid's expansions and their relationship with the valley's main flood path. When the rains fell upon Mecca, the various northern mountain flood routes would converge just north of the valley and rush into the valley, flowing from the higher terrain in the north, moving south along what was known as the belly of the valley flood path until they exited the valley in the south. Not long after the rain had stopped, this path would again dry up and be used as the key travel route between the northern and southern halves of the valley. As for the first expansion of the masjid, it was more of a cleanup of the tawaf area than an expansion, which included the removal of a large tree located next to the home of Humayd bin Zuhair of the Bani Asad clan of the Quraysh, which was the closest house in Mecca to the Kaaba. This house too was removed, along with the other structures that had infringed on the tawaf area, including the various clan sitting areas within the tawaf. Also visible in this view is Dar al-Nadwa, which was originally built by Qusay ibn Kilab after he defeated Khuza'a, who had controlled Mecca for about 500 years and expelled them from the city, in a story the details of which are beyond the scope of this video. This expansion was of course by the Caliph Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu in the year 17 Hijri, and saw the addition of a short wall around the tawaf area with openings as exits located over where the original entrances were located. The next expansion was by Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu, and saw the walls built higher with an arch or arcade design added over the gates, especially the Bani Shayba gate, which still remained over its original location. This was followed by the expansion of Abdullah ibn Zubair radiallahu anhu in the years 64 and 65 Hijri. This expansion made the masjid even more horizontal, as it was limited to its southeastern side by the main flood path, while on the opposite side it was limited by the famous Dar al-Nadwa. This expansion also absorbed almost exactly half of Dar al-Azraq radiallahu anhu bin Amr of the Bani Ghassan, the ally of the Bani Abd Shams clan of the Quraysh, and his son Uqba ibn al-Azraq, who is the grandfather of Abu al-Walid al-Azraqi, whom along with his grandson are the co-authors of the book Akhbar Mecca, also published as Tarikh Mecca, which details the topography and geography of Mecca at the time, along with other relevant historical details. The expansion after that was between 137 and 140 Hijri, and it was by the Caliph Abu Ja'far al-Mansur, and was the expansion that first absorbed large parts of Dar al-Nadwa in order to expand in the northwestern side. Like the previous expansion, this too was unable to expand in the northeastern side due to the main belly of the valley path. However, this problem was finally solved by the Caliph Muhammad al-Mahdi, who first expanded the masjid in 161, but then realized that this side must be expanded also, and solved the problem in 167. This was done by digging a bypass route and filling in the area of the original route in order to build over this filled up area. This expansion by the Mahdi absorbed several properties, including that of Siba' bin Abd al-Uzza of the tribe Khuza'a, who lived in Mecca as an ally of the Quraysh. Siba' was killed in the Battle of Uhud by Hamza radiallahu anhu, and amazingly, I was not only able to specify the location of his property, but also find that the size was exactly 825.6 square meters, which is a level of resolution even I never thought was possible. Among the other properties absorbed by the Mahdi expansions are those of Hana bint Abi Talib radiallahu anha, Jubair bin Mut'im radiallahu anh, Adi bin al-Khiyar radiallahu anh, and to his southeast and across the path of Zuqaq ibn Abi Hussein, the property of Abu Hussein bin al-Harith, with all three being among the Bani Nawfal clan of the Quraysh. These properties, however, along with many others, will be addressed in more detail in future episodes, insha'Allah. The detailed measurements of this expansion are also among what was important to achieve this level of resolution. This construction resulted in 24 gates, with one getting shut resulting in a total of 23. Since the Mahdi's 167 Hijri expansion and all the way up until the first Saudi expansion, no further expansions were made to the masjid other than the Dar al-Nadwa expansion in 284 Hijri and the Bab Ibrahim expansion between 306 and 307 Hijri, albeit it did undergo many renovations. We can also see the masjid depicted throughout this long period with some of the earliest depictions, including one engraved on a slab of marmar, i.e. alabaster, by a sculptor named Abdurrahman al-Makki during the 1400s Hijri, and the 9th century sketch of the Meccan sanctuary by Muhammad ibn Ishaq al-Khawarizmi, who died in 827 Hijri. This, while more recent depictions included the 1807 CE plan of the Meccan Haram, and one of the last prior to the first Saudi expansion was the 1955 CE map of the Meccan Haram. A key note regarding the first Saudi expansion is that it successfully eliminated the need for regular traffic to cross the Mas'a path by cutting a new path behind Mount Safa, disconnecting it from Mount Abu Qubais, and allowing pilgrims performing sa'i between Mount Safa and Marwa not to be interfered with by traffic which previously used to cross the path through the Mas'a. Look forward to future episodes where we show in great detail the geography and topography of Mecca during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it greatly helps, more than you think, to give this a thumbs up, share it, comment and subscribe. All this and more can be found at seeramaps.com, where you can explore our interactive maps, and your memberships will help us continue creating the Seerah maps. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum.